But let's shuffle on to the next topic now. Sorry to sort of interject and kind of cut in there a little bit. But this chap, the Aladdin star, was hounded off Twitter.
Wow.
Hounded off Twitter by Little Mermaid fans.
Yeah, the tolerant folks, the super tolerant people out there.
I told you these people exist.
It's the Oppression Olympics. It's the Oppression Olympics, guys. This is what we're dealing with.
Well, he made a mistake, Nate. He didn't realize he had a penis. See, if he realized he had a penis, then he could have realized he could have won this fight. But
well, no, he didn't realize that he also had the wrong skin color as well.
No, that would have won him the case. But yeah, the other one's a different skin color. You're right.
Yeah. So basically, he's deleted his Twitter. Mina Masood. Now this is an interesting sort of case study. But like I'm not going to sit there and be like, you know. The sort of Oppression Olympics that he's stating in terms of Disney not, choosing not to pursue an Aladdin sequel. They really should have done from the business perspective. It earned over $1 billion worldwide, right? So from a business perspective, there should actually be a sequel to Aladdin, and there's not yet. It seems very odd, but then stuff has happened with Will Smith. His stardom's gone down. He obviously played the genie.
I would think it has
stuff there.
I think it has more to do with maybe the lack of video sales and stuff after the fact, more than likely.
I know, but $1 billion worldwide.
It did great in the box office, but I don't think it did well afterwards. I think that's why the Disney hasn't really pushed for it. But his crime is hilarious here once we get to what he actually did to get canceled.
Well, yeah. So basically, he was cancelled. He was raced off Twitter, and this is what he said. So this is the thing. Our film was unique. Just tweeted this out. Didn't tag anyone. Just tweeted it out.
Was it a response to anybody or no? Or he just said this out?
Okay. No. So yeah, I think it was in response to someone. So it was responding to a fan about the Little Mermaid's chances.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
So what? But it wasn't. I mean, it didn't tag anyone. He just tweeted it. It's
an innocent answer to an innocent question, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he says our film was unique. And the audiences went to watch it multiple times. It's the only way we reached the $1 billion mark with our opening. My guess is The Little Mermaid doesn't cross the billion mark, but will undoubtedly get a sequel. I mean, it's pretty fucking innocuous, isn't it, really? It's a pretty innocuous statement. And they went mental. They went mad mental. So much so he had to go off Twitter. He deleted it. Now, look, at the end of the day, will The Little Mermaid probably get a sequel? Yeah, probably. Probably. I would imagine so, right? It probably will get a sequel. They are really pushing that merch hard currently. They are really, really pushing that merch hard. They've got a lot invested in this, more so than they have.
If not, maybe he's giving us some insight into, a little bit of their,
what they're thinking behind stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a pretty innocuous statement. It is the Oppression Olympics.
For the most part, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But what do we think? Because at the end of the day, I think personally, he's right to a certain degree. I don't think it'll cross $1 billion mark. I've said that before. I know people keep going, well, don't be surprised. Sure, whatever. That's my opinion. But we'll still probably get a sequel, whereas his didn't. And it is surprising because from a business perspective, his movie should get a sequel. It should get a sequel. Business would... that's a good business move. It made good money, but has it got a sequel? It does seem odd, right? I mean, Culture, I can see you racking your brains there, mate. What do you think?
I mean, the easiest business decision would be to greenlight a sequel in this case. I mean, that's just looking at it from that side of the equation. I mean, we oftentimes, and this is where Tom and I disagree on these films like Mermaid and so on. Mermaid is not star driven. There's no star in that film. Whereas when you compare it to the previous live action remakes, those were star driven. Whether you want to talk about Aladdin had Will Smith, and at the time Will Smith was one of the hottest people on the planet. The same thing with Emma Watson being in Beauty and the Beast. I mean, it was star driven. He had multiple stars in that particular film, as a matter of fact. But
Lion King was famous.
But you didn't in Lion King though.
No, they did. So they did and they didn't. They were famous. They were really pushing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Beyonce.
Yeah, so it was star driven from that perspective, and they got James Earl Jones back as well.
Yeah, and again, I mean that voice is iconic and all of that. And it's and say what you will, I mean, about those films, but we've also had some live action remakes that have failed, flopped, whatever you want to call it. I don't see this doing better. A lot of people are trying to say it's going to finish 110 on its Memorial Day weekend opening here in the States, domestically, and I don't see that happening. I still see it sitting somewhere around 70 to 90 million. So it's gonna compare to things. It's gonna open pretty soft. In fact, it's gonna open about this at the same rate that I think Fast X is going to open. And Fast X got downgraded. I think it's going to be somewhere between 63 and 70 million on its opening weekend here in the States. But internationally, it's going to have huge box office. The next thing,
you guys, go ahead, Culture. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say the additional thing that I was going to mention was that I don't think you're going to get a lot of international play for Fast X, which is opening the week before, I think, and then you're going to get not as much international play for Little Mermaid, because a lot of the international markets are just done with this stuff, and
well, their interest is elsewhere as well.
Yeah,
their interest will be in like Fast X and Transformers and things like that.
And then
it'll be on other stuff.
Well, there's two other films that come out that weekend. One of them is Kandahar. I don't know what the other one is, and then right after that, I mean, you have another film coming out the week after. I mean, it's kind of a bad window. Disney is really doing a poor job of like framing these things, putting them in, giving them each movie a run. Because I mean, the Guardians maybe should not have maybe they thought Guardians would tail off faster. I don't know. But now you're cannibalizing yourself potentially. Even though you're there a month apart. I mean, I guess we'll see. I like I said, I'm not.
Well, wait, you don't think it's going to do very well, but do you think it'll get a sequel?
Well, I think my answer was I don't think so.
You don't think? I honestly, I do. I reckon it would get a sequel.
I know, and that's fine.
They are, and I think they are pushing it hard.
Look, if this thing only
seriously hard,
but if it globally only makes $350 to $450 million, I don't know. Soft open on look, if it opens at 70 million. And there's not blazing word of mouth out there that isn't artificially driven.
Well, we know it's going to be artificially driven.
But I'm saying
she is Ariel,
and she really isn't. Like I said, I look at things from the business side of the equation, and for me, the no-brainer was greenlighting Aladdin.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, so from a business perspective, right? I mean, I said it as well. Business-wise, they should have greenlit a sequel. So why don't you think that they did then? Because that, Tom says after post sales, but then they that's 2019. It's around the time that Disney Plus then started to become a thing. COVID happened as well. Why would they not greenlight a sequel? It does seem odd, aside from Will Smith, but that happened last year. So.
Well, we all know why they're making new live action versions. I mean, it's to protect their IP, to protect their story
as well.
Yeah.
Laziness,
so if they are making a shot-for-shot remake of something, they can protect the IP because nobody else can steal their look and feel of their thing. That's all it is. So when you look at why these things are greenlit in the first place, it's so that they don't lose their stories. Disney is in danger of maybe losing characters, but not their stories.
Well, it's not even so much that as the re-releases hadn't been doing as well as they had hoped the last few times, but they also had kind of, this is where I was saying about like they were pissed about DVD because DVD didn't wear out like VHS did. So they couldn't keep re-releasing the movies over and over again. Like they tried, but they didn't sell quite like they would before because no reason to be rebuying them unless you're a Disney nerd.
But they
you care about the upgrade.
But they innovated. Right. And so with the next version, when they released it from the vault, it came with some special features that weren't featured before.
But that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted these movies to come out and make the kind of money and it was basically, the first couple remakes of Maleficent doing so well and stuff like that really pushed this. And I don't have an answer as to why they haven't done an Aladdin 2 yet, because let's look at real quick what he's saying, or finish off your point there, Culture.
I just wanted to add to what you're saying. Maleficent was star driven. See, this is where we start to have this conversation.
I know you keep bringing up the star-driven, but at the end of the day, outside of the adults, kids don't give a shit.
No, but
they
the
don't care.
Who takes them to the films?
Yeah, but that's not who really is driving these sales at the end of the day. Yes, there's the Disnerds and stuff like that, but it's the 7-year-old girls, because there's always a new crop of them. Disney has known that.
Who's buying the toys? Who's buying the merchandise? It's the parents.
Generally speaking, Tom. Yeah, there's new girls. This new.
Well, that's the whole point. Is they used to be able to recycle this stuff every few years. That was what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, I agree. But with you. Right. Yeah.
It kind of hit a stagnant point. Plus, the other thing that they kept running into was, according to them, kids didn't like 2D animation because it was old timey. So that was their options.
So they moved to 2.5D. Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
God, and that looks so trash.
Don't even get me started on that.
Across the Spider-Verse looks like trash.
Spider-Verse is not the first film. Didn't do. We'll see how this sequel does, because the first film didn't really make any money.
We digress a little bit here.
Yeah. Like, I had a point I was gonna get to, but now we've gone way past it. But
yeah, let's get back to him being chased off Twitter, because I mean,
he did say that our movie made $1 billion despite its opening, right? So what he was talking about is the film did have kind of a soft opening, but word of mouth and stuff like that carried the movie on. When people said, "Oh, it's actually better than you'd think it would be," then more people went to see it. I think what he's saying is people aren't going to do that here with this film. You guys may be right. He may be right. I'm not so sure. We'll have to wait and see. I have this feeling the Disnerds are going to make sure this movie makes $1 billion. And this is where the adults come in over the kids.
No, I agree with you. But Tom, if you were a little girl, would you go see this movie more than once?
Tom is a little girl. Don't misgender him. All right.
Sometimes I feel like a little girl. Sometimes I don't.
You think this is the H-Cast as a podcast? This isn't. This is episode 34 of Tom's Girlhood. All right.
When do I get my Bud Light can? Damn it! No, I mean, just never underestimate. Kids don't care about the kind of crap we do. Now, granted, are there going to be some kids that say that don't look like Ariel? I'm sure they will. That's not going to be enough to deter them from wanting to see this movie, because guess what? Kids want to do what their friends are doing. And if one or two of their friends go see this movie and say it's the best thing ever, then their friends are going to want to go. Right. And you got to remember, when you're a kid, every movie you see is the best movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
So unless the parents keep their kids away from this movie, that's the only chance this movie has of not making $1 billion. Yeah. Because it's almost like a foregone conclusion, but I think they're tempering their expectations a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, either way, to not sort of get into this too much. Either way, definitely should have been hounded off Twitter. He should have gone off Twitter. He should have stayed on there, because ultimately he didn't say anything wrong. It's
he didn't.
An estimate of what it is. And he's right in saying that, I mean, obviously it's his thoughts, but he's like, well, look, we made $1 billion. We still haven't got a sequel. I don't think that's going to make $1 billion, but I think it will get a sequel. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And it's absolutely absurd that he got sort of hounded off of Twitter for it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So much tolerance of minorities.
Yeah, man. Well, he's the wrong brown.
It's too light, and he's got a penis.
Yeah.
Oh.